you do today and how that may differ going into next week's mini camp, or what the progression is, what you're looking to do?
I mean, really, the only things that are different from today and tomorrow in next week's mini camp is, the mini camp is a mandatory function, but our schedule will be exactly the same except for post practice. We'll spend some time post practice meetings on Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, structured. I mean, there's been voluntary work going on, particularly today and tomorrow with the rookies. So that's a long answer to the simple answer. It'll be very similar. So,
Mike, what do you think Randy Gregory's benefited from having this offseason program? It might be the first he's had since his rookie year.
I mean, I think that's an excellent observation. I think if he was sitting here, he would tell you all the little things. Just having a chance to watch Randy work. I think it was in Thursday's work last week, just in a one-on-one pass rush instruction segment with AD. Just the questions that he was asking, and just to clean up the details of, the expectations of how we, want to play in certain schemes, but, just building that game plan, that pass rush game plan week in and week out. So I think it's helped him immensely. He looks very comfortable out there, and I think like the biggest thing for our defensive players is, and you'll see it today at practice, the communication is starting to look the way it needs to look. We're not where we want to be, and we just need this time on the field together. We can't just have enough of it, but just the way they're communicating and understanding what we want to do, and really because as an offense, defense, and even on special teams, you get to a point in the off-season program, and you especially want to get there before you get to training camp, where you're really focusing on what the opponent's doing, and really dialing into the details of the pre-snap mannerisms and the post-snap reactions of the opponent, and you can see our guys, we're starting to get into that mode, and just from my experience of off-season program, I always felt that the teams that went into training camp the best prepared are the ones where the players, okay, hey, we understand what we're doing. Let's really dial into the trends of the league, the conceptual understanding of what each situation gives you, and we're getting into that now, and definitely need to take it to a whole different level in training camp.
When you look back and assess the season that Randy had last year, as you did with all of your players, what did you think of it, especially in the light of how long he was away from the game to perform at the level he did? And do you factor that in when you look at what he'll be able to do?
I mean, definitely. I mean, when I looked at Randy's personal evaluation, I gave him 2 arrows pointing up. I mean, if you recall, I think it was 6 games. He was working, in an individual drills over there with Britt Brown for the first 6 weeks, and then we tried to integrate him, and just we're trying to be smart, and and I think that you get to the end of the season, you look at his production, you're like, well, Coach, why the hell did he play more? I get it, but if you go back to the path that he was on, not having a chance to work with him before that, he hasn't been on the football field, and so I think clearly his path last year was just he just continued to rise with every opportunity that he had. So now going through a full off season, I definitely think that he could be a premier primary player for us on defense.
The communication you're getting now, is that what you missed most last year, not having off season because of the shutdown, the teaching and the communication? That's the biggest thing you missed?
I would think it's definitely one of the key components of the foundation of any offense, defense, or special teams. So the repetitions of the communication this early in the process definitely was missed, because if you go back to when we actually did arrive in training camp and were able to get out on the field, it just wasn't clean, and it took us probably to a certain point in the season where we felt like we were really on the same page, and had to deal with some other challenges with injuries and so forth. But I thought near the end of the year, our process was where it needed to be. So, I think clearly having this opportunity off-season program, I don't even like to talk about last year, frankly, because I think it's a terrible comparable. It's one I'm not using. So when I look at our off-season program that we're in currently, I compare it to my past experiences of when you did have a full off-season program. So, and I have confidence when we conclude next week that we'll be pretty close to hitting the targets that you're able to hit in the past in a normal off-season program.
Can you discuss
watching you guys in practice? Just from what we've seen, there is more talking with linebackers with the calls, especially on defense. Is that emphasized more, or just a natural product of having these OTAs?
I think it's a couple things. It's a natural product of having the OTAs, but it's really the natural process of confidence coming out in the understanding and in the speed of recognition that's clearly way ahead of where we were this time last year, because we were in Zoom calls last year. So, but I think it shows the confidence of what's going on, and that's a big part of being successful in this game.
Can you discuss what the team's plans are for joint practices this summer, and also maybe shed some light as to the thinking behind that structure?
Well, I'm kind of hesitant to talk about it because I just wish we would wish we were able to put a stamp on it, say it's official. But I have planned to go to Oxnard for training camp. I've talked with Sean, the LA Rams, about a potential practice together. So him and I have planned that. But until it becomes official, I don't want to put out the rest of it, because I'm a little hesitant, because things, I don't know if you noticed, things have changed a little bit here in the last year. There's decisions that are made that can change and change back or change one way or the other. So, but that's what we're preparing to do. So if we did practice against another team, it'd be one day in Oxnard against the LA Rams.
Is there a certain date in your mind when you say we need to make sure this has to be done by this date before we can go anywhere?
In reference to training camp, or?
Yeah, training camp,
Yeah. If I could pick the date, it would have been a month ago. But I obviously don't control that, so I just got to prepare, and I had a chance to visit with Jerry quite some time yesterday, and we talked about all the things that we feel good about it's going to happen. So, but until we stamp it officially with all the the other things that go with it, I don't think it really should get into the detail of it.
Have you done them in the past, joint practices with teams, and is there with one? Well, you have 4 preseason games, so it's a little different. But how does it help the evaluation process when you're at least for one day going against another team in practice?
I think it helps. I think it's a great opportunity to practice against another team, and I think having a chance to speak with Sean on the phone, and the understanding of how he conducts his practice and what what you're looking for. He's done it a lot the last couple of years, so I haven't done it in quite some time, because in Green Bay we were just never going to leave the town. It was always just the way that's structured up there. So it's been quite a while since I've done it. I've seen I think in the 90s the practices against each other were a little different. So we used to do it every year when I was with the Chiefs. But I think there's a lot to benefit from it, because you can get really good situation work. I think it's good for your evaluation process. I know the personnel departments, I'm sure in both organizations, feel great about it, because they get a closer look at the another club's 90-man roster. So I think there's a lot to gain from practicing the environment, and the most important thing is to get the work done and get it done right, and be on the same page of what each drill, the details of what you're trying to get out of each drill, so both teams are on the same page there, because it's you don't want to get into the extracurricular and all that nonsense, because there's nothing to gain from that. So I'm looking forward to working against the Rams. I mean, it's definitely an excellent football team, well coached, and like I said, they've done it a lot lately. So this will be good for our players.
Mike, why did you decide to add Ben McAdoo to your staff, and what do you think what's his role going to be for you guys?
Well, Ben McAdoo's been added as a consultant, and he's a great resource for us. Obviously, I have a long history with Ben. Have a tremendous amount of respect for him as a football coach, and he's gonna work primarily with both offense and defense coordinators. Just focus more on some pre-game plan focus, and I think he's a great asset, particularly in that role.
As you say, he's a consultant. How much do you expect him to be around? Will he be at all of camp? Will he be coming in here periodically, or how will that be structured?
Yeah, I mean, we're working through the details of that. I mean, right now there's a virtual component to it, but he'll be here throughout the off-season program, and he'll be at training camp. So we're kind of designing the role. I haven't personally had this type of role on my staff before, so Ben has great flexibility. Obviously, he's been a head coach in this league. He's been a coordinator. So he's worked with the front and the back, offense and defense. So I know Dan particularly was excited about it because, it gives someone from the opposite side of the ball perspective as far as, being kind of doing some pre-game planning projects on a weekly basis when we get into the in-season work.
Other than knowing him and having a background, since you haven't had this role before, why did you decide to structure this and implement this? And was it a difficult decision?
No, it wasn't. It was an easy decision. It was a very easy decision because I know the value of what Ben McAdoo can bring to your staff. And but meeting with both Kellen and Dan, this was a role that we felt it could really benefit from us, and not to get like super philosophical about it, but every coaching staff, there's a game plan schedule in the design of when you put third down in, when you put red zone in, and some systems of game planning do things earlier than others. And the point I'm making is we put a lot of stress on our coaching staff earlier in a 7-day week. We put a lot of stress on our coaching staff on Mondays and Tuesdays more than some do, and to get the volume of information to our players earlier on Wednesday and Thursday, so that we have Friday and Saturday for more review. Some people spread it out more over that 4-day period. So my point is, with that, we do a lot of pre-game planning where we're a week ahead of getting ready for the next opponent. So any type of resource that you can have to improve that process, I think is a real benefit. So and that'll be one of the primary focuses that Ben will be focusing on. Giving away all my secrets. You guys got to quit asking really good questions today. This is
between Joe Witt and Ben McAdoo, that's two coaches with whom you have a decade of experience with in your past. Was that an active effort coming off of last season to surround yourself with more people in whom you have such a comfort level and trust?
Well, I'll say this: in the year off, I thought a lot about a staff and dynamics of a staff, and I think when you do things a certain way for a long time, you try to be transparent and really dabble in counterintuition. Make sure you're looking at how others have done it. So I clearly made a conscious effort to be not to just go back and hire all the guys that I'd worked with before, and there's value in that. I was really looking for new in some areas, but I think after a year of doing that, I think it's like anything now. I can weigh that against how I've done it in the past. So the value of Joe Witt, Ben McAdoo, and Joe Philbin, people that you've worked with, Rob Davis in the past, that they bring a tremendous amount of value to a program, because there's just, you're going to do things certain way that may not have been done that way before. So yes, this is definitely there is a consciousness of having people that because you really didn't get to change as much as I probably would have liked to last year, and I think it's normal for everybody. just because of the type of season that we were in, and all the other things that were going on. So, and I feel like we're getting closer to what I feel like it needs to look like, and definitely having those guys being a part of it definitely helps.
What are your expectations for Van Der Esch this year?
I'm sorry?
What are your expectations for Leighton Van Der Esch this year?
Leighton, biggest thing for Leighton is, and he's well into it, is he's in great shape. I think he cleared. I know my time working with him. This is the best shape, overall, because he was coming off an injury this time last year. So just getting himself ready for, the endurance of a full NFL season. And I think everything else will take care of itself. So, he's been here every day. He's I love his work ethic. I love his approach. He's top notch in every category when you're talking about preparing for an upcoming football season. So, I think just the course that that he's on, I think everything that's in front of him will be attainable.
Mike, what have you seen from CeeDee Lamb so far this offseason? And speaking of no offseason program last year, I mean, can you speak to his potential in the 2021 season ahead, having the offseason workout and also having Dak Prescott back at quarterback?
Yeah, I think CD is an excellent example of what you're looking for in your second-year players. I've always felt with a full off-season program, the age, the second-year player benefits the most. I've always felt when you're able to have the full 9 weeks. And I've always referred to it as the second-year jump. You got to see the process, because every rookie comes into this league. Their opportunities are usually different than most others. Some guys get a chance early, some guys don't get a chance till late, some guys don't get a chance at all outside of special teams. Their starting lines are different coming out of college. They're on different experience level, different planes there. But now that once they're able to go through a full season, they have an understanding of the landscape, the expectation, what's expected of them, and then you get into a full off season. I always felt that second-year player, you got to see that jump from their initial start line, and that's something I've paid close attention, because if you don't see it by the third year, it's probably an uphill climb for that particular player. So, and to answer your question, I see CeeDee making that jump. I mean, you can see he's very comfortable, very natural. We've been making a conscious effort to make sure the receivers play all 4 positions on offense, inside, outside, and the 3 spot and the 3-by-1. So, even Tony Pollard's been playing some receiver, as far as some of the things we're asking him to do, moving him around and so forth. So we're just trying to really expand everybody's understanding conceptually in the offense. And we're talking about the pass perimeter right now, and I think CD is definitely, you see him making that move that you like to see in your second-year players.
Mike, with Tyron and Leo Collins back, do you get a feeling that you'll actually see the offensive line you expected to when you took the job, even though Travis retired not long after you took it? How much did not having both of those guys basically for a full season impact this team as you look? Even though I know you don't want to look at last year.
I mean, I'm loving the positive vibes. They look great out there. I think Tyron is, just going off of last year's experience. I mean, I've never seen him smile so much. And I think probably a big part of it is he's healthy. He's pain-free. He looks great. I mean, LC looks great. The big man can run. I mean, you watch him go through the workouts. We definitely we're a different line when those two guys line up. There's no question about that. So it's great to have them out there just on an individual basis because what they've gone through last year. But it definitely makes our line, our whole process up front, move a lot smoother. You can see their experience. You can see obviously the comfort they have, with Dak when Dak's in there and the command that he has. So it's great to have those two guys here.
We didn't see much of Zach Martin last week when we were at that open practice. Where is he physically today? Can you provide any context to his offseason? We had an injury to close last season.
Yeah, he just has some little stuff, and we're being smart with Zach. I mean, obviously he's played, he's got a lot of snaps. He's played a lot of football, but he's here every day. Sits in the front row of the team meeting today. So Yeah, he's doing great. I mean, Zach's. I don't know if Zach even took a week off after the season. So he's here every day. Great leader. Obviously, he's front and center on everything, but just being smart with him on the on-field work.
Mike, what's Micah Parsons' adjustment been like with veterans the last couple of weeks since rookie camp?
It's good. I mean, I think to be expected. He understands football. I mean, he's a natural at that. You can see some of the things. You can see that. There's an RPO last week in practice he almost picked off. So I mean, you can see the ability and just the instinct, the way he can react and get off the spot, at the linebacker position. So you're going to see. You just pay attention today. So I'm going to quiz you next week, but he's going to play a little bit outside. You'll see him rush a little bit, come off the edge today. So we're just going through our installs, our concepts, but he's fitting in real nice right now.
You mentioned Pollard taking some receiver work. Is that just a way to come up with more ways to get him involved?
Sorry, Todd. We got a few guys that are nicked, so too, our numbers were down. We had a couple guys we got a couple guys that are under the weather, with the allergies and some of the stuff that's going on right now. So our numbers were a little thin in it, but it's also, it gives us the opportunity to rep those concepts with Tony that we didn't do a whole lot of last year. So it's a combination of both those things.
How does he look doing that stuff? He did it at Memphis a little bit, obviously, but.
Oh no, yeah, he's natural. Yeah, I mean, he looks very natural. I mean, Tony's an exceptional athlete. Looks very comfortable in the space alignments and assignments that we ask him to do. Dan Quinn's treating him as a receiver, so I think that tells you how he looks. So.
I was curious, when you looked at defensively the work in the red zone last season, how do you improve in that area? I mean, how do you envision making a step in that area?
Well, I think it's like any situation. It's, especially down there. I mean, you got to win. The normal down and distance is, the win-loss last year was not, nearly what it needed to be. And it obviously starts with the run defense. So, the production on normal down and distance, and get the sticks tilted your way is the starting point. But what we're going through right now is really just trying to get the schemes tightened down. The red zone coverages and the red zone calls, and it's we're in install 5 today. So we got 5 today, 6 tomorrow, and we'll do 7 and 8 next week. So we get those in, and we in 3 of the 8 installs are red zone driven. So I think that tells you the importance of it. So we can't get enough of these reps. So this has been good, and I'm clearly confident we'll be better than we were last year.
Will be a 2-day minicamp next week or a 3-day minicamp next week?
3-day minicamp. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah.
The 2 installs. How does that work?
Yeah. Well, hey, it doesn't hurt to review.
Fair enough.
Sounds good.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good to see everybody.